The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the riverbank, where a solitary fisherman cast his line into the water. Each flick of his wrist sent the bait dancing across the surface, a small ripple in the otherwise serene expanse. This fisherman, known to the locals as Samuel, had spent countless mornings in pursuit of the river's bounty. He was a man of routine, waking before dawn, his weathered hands expertly mending nets and preparing his boat for the day's catch. The river was not just a source of sustenance for him. It was a companion, whispering secrets and stories that only he could hear. On the opposite end of the riverbank, a cook named Eliza set up her modest kitchen. She had a small fire pit where she would prepare the day's meals, often using the fresh catch that Samuel would bring in. Eliza was known for her culinary skills, transforming simple fish into exquisite dishes that delighted the townsfolk. Her reputation had spread far and wide, and people traveled from neighboring villages to savor her creations. The aroma of herbs and spices wafted through the air, mingling with the earthy scent of the riverbank, creating an intoxicating atmosphere. Their paths crossed often, but they seldom spoke beyond the exchanges of pleasantries. Samuel was a man of few words, preferring the company of the river to that of people. Eliza, on the other hand, thrived on conversation, her laughter ringing like music as she shared stories with her patrons. Yet, there was a mutual respect between them, a silent acknowledgement of their shared connection to the river and its gifts. One fateful day, as Samuel pulled in his net, he noticed something unusual. A glint of silver caught his eye, not from the fish he sought, but from a figure emerging from the dense thicket of trees that bordered the river. The man was unlike anyone Samuel had ever seen. He was tall and lean, with wild hair that seemed to merge with the surrounding foliage. His clothes were tattered, made from rough fabrics that blended seamlessly with the forest. There was a wildness in his demeanor, a sense of freedom that intrigued Samuel. The forest man approached cautiously, his eyes darting between Samuel and the boat. "I mean no harm," he said, his voice deep and resonant, carrying an accent that hinted at a life spent far from civilization. "I've been watching you from the trees. You fish for your meals, yes?" Samuel nodded, curiosity piqued. "I do, and you are?" "Call me Rowan," the man replied, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "I live in the woods, away from the towns. I've learned to survive by the land's gifts, but I've always wondered about the river." Eliza, who had been stirring a pot nearby, looked up, intrigued by the unexpected visitor. She had heard tales of a forest man, a figure who roamed the woods, living off the land and avoiding human contact. Many dismissed these stories as mere folklore, but here he stood, real and present. "Come, Rowan," she called, gesturing for him to join them. "You must be hungry. I have plenty to share." She ladled a portion of her fish stew into a bowl, the steam rising in fragrant curls. Rowan hesitated for a moment, glancing at Samuel for approval. Samuel, intrigued by the man's presence, nodded in encouragement. Rowan approached the fire, accepting the bowl with gratitude. As he took his first bite, his eyes widened in surprise. The flavors danced on his palate, a symphony of spices that he had never experienced before. "This is incredible!" he exclaimed, his voice filled with genuine awe. "I've never tasted anything like it." Eliza beamed at the compliment, her heart swelling with pride. "It's just simple cooking, really. Fresh fish, herbs from the riverbank, a bit of love." She turned to Samuel, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Perhaps you could teach Rowan how to fish. He could use a few lessons." Rowan chuckled, his laughter echoing through the trees. "I've fished before, but it's been a while. I prefer foraging in the woods." He glanced at Samuel, who was now watching him with a mixture of curiosity and amusement. "But I would welcome the chance to learn from a master." Samuel, usually reserved, felt a spark of camaraderie. "It's not difficult," he replied, his voice gruff but friendly. "Patience is key. The river has its own rhythm. You have to listen." As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the riverbank, the three of them settled into an easy rhythm. Rowan shared stories of his life in the forest, of the animals he encountered, and the seasons that dictated his existence. He spoke of the beauty of solitude and the wisdom found in nature. Eliza, in turn, shared her culinary adventures, recounting the challenges of running a kitchen and the joy of feeding others. The bond that formed that day was unexpected, yet profound. Samuel found himself laughing more than he had in years, and Eliza's spirit seemed to shine brighter with each tale shared. They became a trio, united by the river and its gifts, each bringing their unique experiences to the table. As dusk fell, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Rowan stood to leave, a sense of reluctance evident in his posture. "I should return to the forest," he said, his voice tinged with a hint of sadness. "But I would like to come back. There's much I can learn from both of you." Samuel nodded, feeling a sense of loss at the thought of the forest man leaving. "You're welcome here any time, Rowan. The river is always abundant. We could use a hand." Eliza smiled warmly. "And there's always a pot of stew waiting for you. Just follow the scent." With a newfound friendship forged in the fading light, Rowan disappeared into the thicket, leaving behind a promise to return. Samuel and Eliza remained by the fire, their hearts lighter, their lives enriched by the unexpected encounter. The river continued to flow, a witness to the stories that would unfold, each ripple carrying the essence of friendship, laughter, and the simple joys of life along the riverbank.